At the end of this life that I've been given, after the prayers and the bells are rung, I ain't afraid of where I'm going and what'll become of the songs I've sung. What'll become of the songs I've sung.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Corpus Christi Songwriter Podcast. I'm Jules.
Hey, I'm Garrett.
I'm Jimmy.
Here today to celebrate the Songwriter Festival that we had. We got a little recap going on with Stefan Prigmore. And then we have Tony Montoya.
Paul Montoya. But yeah, Tony's good too.
Who is Tony Montoya then? Who am I thinking about?
That sounds like
Montana. Is it Montoya? It's from Scarface, yeah?
Oh, no, that is Scarface, Tony Montana. Right.
I thought so.
What's the last name of the guy from the character from The Princess Bride?
Inigo Montoya.
Montoya, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. But yeah, it's going to be a great episode. We had some really illuminating conversations spanning from our favorite moments of the 2025 Corpus Christi Songwriters Festival all the way to how AI is taking over.
You'll see how we get there throughout the course of this conversation. There are many twists and turns, cliffhangers, and unexpected things. However, we arrive skidding sideways into a casket, Go enjoy it.
Girl, I know I've been wrong before. Didn't put my best foot forward, baby, with you. But yesterday I met your mama. She begged me, please, please don't make her blue. So I'm gonna try, girl, I try.
All right, well, we're back with our guest, or one of our guests this evening, Mr. Stefan Prigmore. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. And so the whole reason we invited you onto our podcast today was to chat about something that happened recently, our festival. And you helped us make this festival a success. And so I just wanted to
Hell yeah.
We wanted to chat with you and get your insight into how you thought it went. And we just wanted, just unpack. It's been a couple of weeks since the best. And so
yeah. It was awesome.
Still reeling from it. And
yeah, I know.
I think it's going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny. So I just got home Sunday. And
you went to Montreal for the Folk Alliance.
Yep. So after Corpus, I went and did a thing in Arlington, Texas for a couple of days, and then went to Folk Alliance. And then I was up there for that Organized Insanity for a few days, and then came home Monday morning at 4:00. So I flew into DFW and then got my car and then had to drive 3 hours to get home. And I only feel like I'm just now kind of decompressing.
Yeah.
And I saw our friend Heidi's little questionnaire asking about Corpus Christi, and I was like, God, that was forever ago.
Yeah, I can't believe it's already been going on 2 weeks almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was so good this year, y'all. I think everybody did such a good job. And I just want to say, from the worker side of it, the coolest thing for me as from that perspective is how well everybody communicated with each other this year. And it was fantastic. It felt really good to be a part of that. It makes you feel like you're with the right people,
You were like the secret ingredient, Stefan, for this year. You just you always just make it better. And then and on top of that, you had Heather, you brought Heather into the fold. And man, that first night of music it was incredible. And barbecue, man, who would have known? It sounded amazing in there.
Right?
That place is
it was
wonderful.
awesome. I know.
As soon as we walked in, I was like, this is all the first places I ever played music were this place.
Yep.
It was strange, though. It didn't smell like cigarettes.
Should have.
And nobody was yelling at me for screwing around on the dance floor.
We played
It-
both styles of music.
A relic of the 1970s honky tonk, basically.
That's
Yeah,
what it
man.
felt-
And they were
yes.
so friendly, and the vibe was so warm and comfortable. Like
Yeah, man.
everybody there loved the place.
Yeah.
And then have the music that was there that night. What was it? Did Stephanie play that night?
Yeah, Stephanie
Yes.
played
Yeah.
with Charlie Roth, right?
Right.
That's right.
And then
And,
Elise and Emma. Oh man.
Elise,
So
man,
yeah, man.
I'd never heard her before. And when you told me about how y'all discovered her music, it was like, man, that's
She was
If
she is awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I told this story already. Like we were at Swerfa last year, and just we were trying to find somebody else, one of the official showcase performers, artists, and we just stumbled into her room, and I'm like, wait, this isn't her. But then we heard her voice, and we all just slowly sat down and were
Yeah, it was
mesmerized.
definitely-
And
It was
I
definitely her.
immediately, when she was done, she's like, "You're playing." I said, "You're playing the festival," and
Dude, it was like us and one other person in that
Yeah.
room, in that hotel room. And she just sat on the bed and got as close as possible because there wasn't that many people in there. And it was like a weird, magical little moment carved out of time that we experienced that. Yeah, it was. Yeah, she's awesome.
So to any of our listeners, if you've been sleeping on Elise Leavy, definitely check her out because her music is like top notch.
don't tell the garden I'm leaving. Man,
So good.
You
Yeah,
know,
man.
it's funny, man. Because like I was watching Elise play, and I was, like you guys mentioned, it's the first time I saw her, so I was in that first time witnessing sort of mesmerization sort of area of like observing her, being like, wow, this is really incredible, right? And I was hanging out afterwards, and I was talking to John Macy, and he was remarking about how incredible she was, and I saw him do like a beeline for her to say hello and stuff when she got off stage, and it was really cool to like, because you wonder how, like, as a producer, like you what do you do at times? You kind of sit around, and then you hear something that's really compelling, and you want to go talk to that person, So it's funny just to see like someone John also just feel that and be like, here we go, straight for you. Like, how's it going? I'm John. You're Elise. You're great. It was really cool, man. To see that too. And anyway, but yeah, Elise is incredible, man. I didn't get a chance to hear it Swerfa. I don't know what I was doing at that time. I don't know.
Y'all were probably recording in the stairwell, Jules. I think
Yeah,
it was
I
probably
mean-
that time.
Or just in
stairwell
a
at
circle.
Swerfa?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jules had a total like side quest thing, and then just
Yeah.
like all this video stuff of like when we got back, I was like, "What? You had an incredible journey."
Yeah, I don't think Jules like attended any of the performances. He was just like wandering
He just did all
around
side
playing
quests, and it was
playing
awesome.
dobro for everybody.
Yes, it was great.
Yeah, I just kind of wandered and was like, oh, this could use some slide, man. Or I'll just hang out here and somebody will notice this instrument. And,
Yeah.
Hold on real quick. Harper's about to break some glasses. Harper, get over here.
Is she making her appearance? Is she going to show up?
Yeah.
I think that the thing too that Jules, like, you're kind of to piggyback off your point, is that the cool thing about the fest too is like, if you like something and you're enjoying what you're doing, like, people are going up and saying that was awesome. Like, that's a cool thing to, like, as a songwriter, to have anybody just like, hey, I really like what you're doing. And, like, it's still kind of, the festival's still kind of intimate enough that it's cool to do that. It's okay to do that, and that's the thing.
I think it's important to do that.
Yeah, I think so too.
If you see something that makes a positive impact on your life,
Yeah.
go say thank you.
Yeah, man. I agree.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt like. As soon as I saw Elise play, I was like, I have to tell you, that was fantastic.
That made my life better.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And did you notice? So she was on stage with Emma, right?
Yeah, Emma James.
And did you notice that every time Emma sang, Elise was 100% engaged with and focused on Emma?
Yeah. No.
Yep. She did
That's
that too.
you know-
Jules, you had a set with her, didn't you, Jules? Y'all had a set. Yeah, man. That's how she was with. She's just like a songwriters. Y'all set was very like. I like the contrast to you two, but like it was cool because she kind of like answered your songs, which was ideally the way you want to do a song swap. But yeah, it was a nice dialogue, I think.
I was hanging with her backstage briefly before we both went on, and I saw her like writing in some kind of journal or something as she sat there, and I didn't want to disturb her or anything, right? But right before we went on, we exchanged a few words, and I was like, yeah, I used to like not really like these songwriter rounds because like you go up there with the game plan, and then the person you're with plays a song, and that triggers your memory towards some other song that would be perfect to complement that one. And then all of a sudden you go from having a game plan to you're digging deep in your like in your memory.
That's good.
Right.
Yep.
So part of that can be inspiring. You got to stay loose and just kind of go with that, right?
Yeah.
But I felt like because we decided for her to go first, and then she played, and then I played something, then she started answering me. Somehow within that, I had just placed that condition upon her inadvertently. Like I made her kind of cycle through her catalog way, and I didn't like mean to do that, but it was something that I said about. I think I mentioned that at some point afterwards. But yeah, man, it's I was really happy that. I mean, thank you, Jimmy, for I think you created that pairing, and
Yeah.
It was a cool pairing.
Yeah, I was really happy with how that turned out. Like
The Guinevere song, y'all's little double with the Guinevere song, and then that was
Guinevere
super cool.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, man,
Jules.
that's a killer song, Jules.
Yeah, I loved her pairing with Emma James. I thought that was a really cool way to open the festival. But yeah, I really enjoyed the way y'all, the conversation y'all had together through song. So.
Yeah, I mean, she converted limerence into a song, and I was like, "Oh, like, yeah, that's within the sort of weird sort of therapeutic culture we have. Like, that's a hot topic word, I guess. Like that. I don't quite know how to define it, but it's cool. It's trying to
What was it?
limerence.
Limerence?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Like,
What's that mean?
let's look it up.
let's look it up.
This is a regular thing.
There, it's become Garrett is our thesaurus. Dictionary.
Limerence. Okay, limerence. A state of tense longing for someone characterized by obsession and uncertainty about whether the other person's feelings are reciprocated. It can be cognitive, emotional, and a cognitive, emotional, and physical experience. Ooh.
All right.
That's a cool word.
That was our word of the day segment,
Limerence.
brought to you by Garrett Wieland.
Limericks. No, that's a cool word.
That
It's
is
like
really
when Joan Baez sings, "Babe, I'm gonna leave you." That's exactly what that feels like.
Yes.
that reminds me of Heather did a workshop or a clinic, if you will, Saturday of the fest, and she at the end of it she gave us a writing prompt where we had to write down a word that we normally wouldn't put in a song. And then we traded it with someone else. I traded with Garrett, and he gave me. What did you give me? It was
liminal.
Yeah,
liminal space. Yeah, and then yours was TV. What was it, Jimmy?
I gave you static television, which is kind of a cheat because that's two words. But
yeah, you could fold them into one. It's okay.
But liminal, yeah, it sounds very similar to.
The kids like that word these days. Liminal. It's a liminal space. I hear a lot.
But yeah, no, for me, that was an eye-opening experience too. Just having to work that word into a song. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think I got a brand new song out of that.
Did you?
Heather. I wasn't expecting it. Like Heather's one of my very best friends. So like the whole time I thought I would just be like collecting ammo to give her shit with later. Man.
Oh, and she gives you shit all the time.
Dude, we're like freaking siblings. Yeah.
Can I say that I love saying razor wire, man?
What's that?
So can I say that I loved when you sang razor wire?
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jules.
great moment, man. Because I previously I had heard Heather's version of it, the recorded version, and I just, in that moment, sing that song, and I was like, oh, I get it, man. There's like interplay sort of between hearts happening, and this sort of song that comes out of a fusion of some of these. It all at once sort of like made a lot of sense, man. Like y'all both have ginormous hearts, man.
Yeah. I agree. That's awesome.
Well, thanks, Jules. Man, so do you, brother. But
that was a good set, man. Stefan, here the man. I had not heard the Quanah Parker song, and I was like, oh man, I got to put that in my song now. Because I'm working on one too, and I was like, oh, he's right. I should mention. That was a great song. It's a great example of taking that historical theme and like finding the human interest in that and making a song out of it, which they were talking about in Heather's. Was that in Heather's workshop where we were kind of talking about, or was it? No, it might have been George's workshop, but someone was mentioning
I think Heather touched on it.
Was it? Yeah, we were talking about taking a historical event. I know Claudia Gibson talked a little bit about it because she also has a song about an old cowgirl that was or like an old outlaw Texas lady. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, and she talking about. Someone was asking, well, how do you do? I think Ryan Biter was like, I don't know how do you guys take the historical parts and figure out what you want to include? And Claudia was talking about the human interest story, like finding that thing in there. And she was also telling us in the podcast that I thought was kind of interesting. She said, I don't direct movies. I don't write books, but I write songs. And when I heard this story, I thought this should be a movie or this should be a book, but what can I make of this? And she could make a song. And so, I thought that was kind of a cool thing.
I think y'all probably have stories down there in Corpus Christi that like that's pertinent to the folklore of the area, that's specific to how you grew up with it, right? That's kind of like how it is with like me and Quanah Parker. I don't know what would a thing be like.
Man, I don't know. Down here, what
old pirate story, or is there
the old that stuff, or
Indian thing, or
I have a song about. Well, I have an Apache song about the Nueces River Apaches that were down here. I've never been able to figure out how to finish that song, but
I'm trying to think.
Chupita.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Chupita.
Chupita.
Yeah. There's the song.
Classic folklore story.
What's Chupita?
She was a woman that was hanged in San Patricio County. The only woman hanged in San Patricio County down a couple miles, about 40 miles north of us. And they say that she's like the weeping woman that you can still see her ghost down there in the river bottom. And there's all kinds of stories.
Yeah, that sounds like the same kind of thing. Like y'all grew up hearing that story and hearing about her. And they're like there was bad, like, what'd they call it? Paisano Wars or something? A little bit like north of y'all. Yeah. It happened in like the 1920s with the Texas Rangers. And
yes, I have heard about some of that stuff. Yes, And then there's also I don't know if you ever read Taming the Nueces Strip, Stefan. That's all about the Nueces. Yeah, that was down here.
A long time ago.
That's a pretty fascinating. McNally's Rangers. That's a pretty fascinating story.
Yeah. I mean, Captain McNally's Rangers. That's so crazy. You just said that. One of like my great hoverback grandfather was a man named Doc Henderson who rode with Captain McNally.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's small world. That's awesome.
Yeah. But like that stuff is all around us. Right.
Oh yeah.
So what's the Garrett? Just briefly go back to this, man. The woman who hung herself in San Patricio County thing. I think what you're talking about is what was known to me growing up, and what my Mexican grandparents called it La Llorona.
But I think that got conflated with the Chupita thing, because Chupita's Chupita was apparently a real woman that got hung.
Yes.
For some crime, for killing her kids, and then the La Llorona. I don't know if it's the same time or predates or after. But it's the same kind of story though, because Chupita had kids that I think the reason they hung her is because she killed the kids. Maybe I don't know. I know there's a book.
Yeah.
Who knows how much of this is still true, though? Who knows how much of this is folklore?
Now, I don't know if this is true or not either, but
Yeah.
my first ex-wife, she always told me that Chapita was hung on her family's ranch, and she took me out to the tree and said they used to own it out here and everything.
I know the tree. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I know the tree.
so-
I used to date a girl down in the river bottom down there.
Oh, there's the story, Garrett.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
you're
girl
right.
you knew in the river bottom that took you to Chapita's
Yes.
swinging.
You know what else is a cool story that I didn't realize?
Now
Jules, you might know this. Did you know that the old Bayview Cemetery actually has some Buffalo Soldiers in it?
No shit.
I did hear that.
I know. We need to go down there, man. I want to go check it out. Like, because I
Yes.
have a Buffalo Soldiers song because I'm just fascinated. But yeah, a couple of those dudes died down here in some kind of military endeavor and ended up getting buried in Old Bayview, which is our historical cemetery downtown. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what? Yeah. I work for a news station here, and we ran a story on that. That's how I learned.
That's why I
about
knew about it,
Yeah.
Jimmy. Yeah.
There you
That's
go.
exactly why I knew about it. I was like, man, I didn't know this. That's awesome.
That's
Okay,
cool
we're
stuff.
to-
Yeah, that's
We're totally off topic with the festival, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, we did a festival. That's
well, the festival's kind of in line with that. Like I was talking to my wife, she's a social anthropologist who's
Dude.
moonlighting as a social worker now. But we talk about how like there's the folklore of anything.
Yeah.
You can talk about the folklore of it.
Yeah.
And the Corpus Christi Songwriter Festival is like now in that, what do you call it? The
Milieu. Is that the word? Milieu.
yeah. The Ashantic Records, is that what it's called? When they talk about like the collective consciousness of like the Corpus Christi Songwriter Festival is now and forever will be
part of
the folklore and the mythos of Corpus Christi.
Dude,
Because you have all these storytellers coming from all over the country to come together in Corpus Christi for whatever reason.
I don't think people know either before they come down. And like I didn't know for a long time, dude, Corpus musical history is huge.
Yeah.
Like it's massive. There's so much stuff that has happened here, come from here, and Freddie Records down the road, Hacienda for a while, like these great Tejano record labels that were number one in the world basically. But then on top of that, like there's all kinds of like crazy acts that came through here, you know, like all these people that played down at the Ritz, like Springsteen and
it's crazy. Like in the 70s, 60s, 70s, even some in the 80s, we were like a stop on tour, and now it's a struggle to get somebody that's modern, well known to get down here. It's always someone that's 2 decades. We're always a decade or two behind now.
Yeah. So. Like 10 years ago, it was really, you didn't really get any of these bigger acts, and it was a lot of cover acts coming in. And of course, they would sell a bunch because they're cover acts. But in the last 10 years or so, people started thinking of Corpus as a viable place to come to. I mean, Elton John came. And then Bob Dylan around that time came down, and Jeff Beck and ZZ Top were here, which
that's right.
was amazing. I missed that show, and I only missed that show because Steve Earle was at House of Rock that night. I would have been a Jeff Beck. But
what year was this? Do you know?
That was like 2015
or 16. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a hell of a show. It was awesome. Ty opened the show with Paik Rossi, and then the Mastersons opened before that, and then Steve Earle.
Paik Rossi. That dude is so good.
Paik is gross good. Like so good. So amazing. But yeah, that was part of the whole part of the idea of the festival, I think, is Jimmy would maybe agree with me, was to make it kind of more of like, hey man, it's okay to come back down to Corpus and play some music. Like Surf Club used to be, if you look at Surf Club's wall, like the people that came through there, James McMurtry played there all the time. Right. All these guys, and it just kind of, I don't know if it just wasn't viable anymore or people stopped hiring them. I don't know what happened, but
I think radio changed.
Yeah.
Radio was no longer the promotional tool it had been.
Yeah. Man, I think at least like from a vantage point of like Alice, Texas, like at least around here, this place that's called the Hub City, or it used to be known, it was a hub because like there was all these different oil companies and stuff, and apparently stuff like this before my time, they've long since gone. And
Yeah.
so it's, I mean, Alice, Texas, it's like, times are hard. And I mean, there's not many cars in the parking lots of business out there, but I would say that, maybe it's the same story we tell about all cities, but I think it's also valid in the case of Corpus as well. Like, we used to get the big metal bands, and I don't know that
Oh yeah, man.
I don't know that we, get like Lamb of God. Come on. Right?
Yeah.
Anybody, I mean, I feel like, who am I talking? I mean, Slayer still comes down here, but that's just, they enjoy taking pictures with the Border Patrol at the Sarita checkpoint.
Well,
Yep.
You'll have that awesome South Texas metal thing that's always been.
It's always been a thing. That's the other thing too. Like we had
a thing with metal in South Texas and northern Mexico.
Like all of the
metal.
Anchor Watt, that band was on Metal Blade Records, man. I know the drummer from that band. Like I've jammed with him before.
We need to get Anchor Watt on this podcast because we bring them up quite often.
Do we? Have we? I guess I probably have.
This is probably like the third time, so maybe not quite often. We bring them up sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, what's wild is, so before all that, like you can stand anywhere in Corpus Christi and look at the ocean and see why this is a great place to come to. Right. Yeah. And so you have a feeling, I do, as an outsider in Corpus, that people have been coming down here to Corpus Christi, not Corpus Christi, the city as it is now. I mean, like this region for thousands of years.
Yeah.
To meet other people.
Yeah.
And share, not just to trade and for reasons of economy, but for reasons of culture, and to trade stories and to hear about what somebody else has experienced, and I think that that's what I mean about the Songwriter Festival kind of continuing that thing and now being in the folklore of like that region in general. It's kind of fantastic. It's a little spacey, but it's also, I think it's valid probably.
I like,
there's places you go and you go, oh yeah, there's a reason people were coming here. You can just look around and see it and feel it. And I think Corpus Christi is that way. Stonehenge is that way too.
Stonehenge.
You can go to Stonehenge and be like, wow, this is a place where people just shared joy for thousands of years because it's beautiful.
Have you been there?
Stonehenge?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there in October.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's nuts. As soon as you get there, you're like, ever been in a church and got the vibe of like spiritual joy?
Yeah.
From what everybody's experiencing together. It's like that there at Stonehenge, but like times 1,000. Like you can almost physically, like, it's crazy. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Joy and goodness. Yeah, it's a fantastic place. But anyway, Corpus also seems like one of those places that people would come through.
Yeah.
And meet other people.
Yeah.
Lots of pirate lore too.
Man,
yeah.
You could also stand out like by the ocean and understand as you look out into the Gulf of Mexico, right? That this is the harshest terrain your whose guitar will ever be asked, to tell you what, if you're playing elixirs, you better watch that G string because it's
dude.
I kind of want to write that on like a advisory sort of like thing that we give to artists. Like, hey, if you're playing, light strings and they're elixirs and you got
probably a good idea,
like you gotta, because I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, it's happened to me before, and I carried two guitars for a while that way, but and then I also stopped using elixirs too, and but anyway, I really enjoy shaming that company Elixir because out of the strings and
I'm glad they don't sponsor me anymore.
Did they sponsor you?
For briefly, just like during one tour, I got some strings.
That's cool.
Too many gigs in Port A taught me not to use them ever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, what happened to these strings? I've only been outside for 30 minutes.
Get a brand new pack of Elixir and then get like 5 extra G strings just in case. That's always what I would do.
That one Robert Point's Park show we did, immediately after that show, my strings were just like rust bucket. Like I was playing like it was just disgusting. That's Port A.
What I figured out about Elixir too is that if your strings break, you can just write them a firmly worded email and give them your address, and they will send you an envelope with free strings, and they want you to return the broken strings for their research.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's insane.
Just write them a firmly worded email and they'll send you that stuff. And then, I mean, other people, occasionally I tell this to people and they're like, oh, yeah, I do that. They sent me strings too. They want a little envelope in a package. I'm like, yeah. So, seriously.
So, Stefan, you're actually our first repeat guest, is what I'm trying to say. So, we should make this a thing. Every time we do the festival, you come on and we chat about it. If you're down,
I'd love
to.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. I'm really, really grateful to be involved.
Yeah, we're grateful to have you involved.
You're part of it.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on.
I think
man.
you legitimize us a little bit, so we really appreciate you being a part of it.
I agree. You also have great music suggestions, Stefan.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. Did you listen to some of those?
Yes, dude. I jammed was it Whitaker? What's his name? Is it Eric Whitaker? Who'd you send me?
Jacob Bird?
No, I haven't heard Fur yet, but the other guy you sent me, I jammed his record. And I think Schmidt.
Oh, Eric Schmidt. Oh, yeah.
That's a hell of a
his
record.
New stuff?
Dude,
have you listened to his new? He's got a new song.
No, I listened to one from like 2017, maybe, the one with his face on it. That is a hell of a record, man. The one that starts with
Medicine Man.
Yeah, and there's a song on there that's like the first song's like a traditional title, but it's not the traditional version of the song. I don't remember what it's called.
The 80s?
Yeah, yes, that song is great. Yeah, great suggestions. Yeah, man, that was great.
Yeah, man.
Before we wrap up, because we got about 10 minutes here, I kind of wanted to do a round, like a circle, if you will. What people's favorite moments of the festival were? What were your favorite moments of the fest?
I've got two.
Okay.
I've got two. So the first was when I was sitting there with Heather. We were watching Elise sing. And she sang, "Don't Tell the Garden I'm Leaving." And I saw Heather out of the corner of my eye. We both just kind of like melted and our arms just fell like, oh, this is going to be one of those.
Yeah.
And it was so nice. It was so good. Okay, I don't lie. I got three. The second one was when Heather played. And as soon as she got up there and played, I think a lot of the folks who were there hadn't heard Heather before. And she's one of my best friends, and I believe in her 100% in what she does. And getting to see a bunch of people really connect with something that somebody who you love very much does is a really cool thing. And then you're connected to those people too, because they're seeing and feeling the same thing that you do in your friend.
Right.
And the third one was when Tom Shepard got up and played. He was so different from what had gone on most that afternoon. I saw some people kind of going, huh. Nobody was upset or didn't dig it. But then 10 seconds in, everybody was like, all right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love it. This is great. And he had everybody, and that evidence that I think is evidence that good music is good music and genre isn't real.
Saying genre is performative?
Speaking of which, mine is the Ella Reed and Charlie Roth's set where they were like both telling me like Ella later was like, I didn't know what to expect. I was kind of like not thinking it was going to work. And I was like, it was great. And then I think my other one would be definitely seeing Heather I've never seen Heather, but I've listened to her for so long that it was just like, it was just a magical moment of getting to like stand. I was standing in the back, and it was like awesome to see like all of this, like almost like a view, like a camera eye. And it was just like Heather, and it was just all this dark, but I could see, like just perfectly framed and just gorgeous songs, and like hearing her sing Sunset Inn, just, yeah, it was, for me, it was all the stress was worth it just to see that moment. It was awesome.
No, 100%. I agree with all of that. I've got a couple. Like, I was really excited to see Nathan Evans Fox and Rachel Laven.
Oh yeah, that was a great set.
And their performance was amazing,
dude.
I couldn't have asked for a better performance. Yeah,
fiddle out of nowhere.
But I think my favorite moment was Sarah Golden's performance.
Sarah's performance. Yes, I forgot.
Yeah.
It's not even that long, and I forgot all this.
That might have been our first standing ovation. She got because her, obviously, if you've listened to her podcast episode, her songs are very political and very social minded, and I was really happy to see the audience react the way they did to her songs. I wasn't sure how they were going to go over, and it was
awesome.
just amazing. So for me, that was a personal favorite moment.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Watching Emma play Family Tradition for me was really tops, man. And maybe I'm a little biased because I worked with her to get her record done. That I hear it's released in June or so is what her plans are now. But not even, it was just, hope that we can have her on in the future and she can tell the story herself. But I mean, to see her select that song and play that song required a certain amount of bravery. And maybe what people don't know is that during this process of, determining what songs were going to be placed on her album, at one point it was like a Thursday, it's a few days in, and she was questioning, including some of the original planned tracks. And so she starts going through stuff that she's written lately. And I felt like, as I was saying, no, what else you got? No, what else you got? I had probably gone one or two songs a little bit too far, right? And so I didn't know what she had as recent. And she looked over at her mom, and her mom was like, "Oh, I'm going to cry, if you play that song." And she was like, "Okay, well, I'm going to play that song." And her mom left the room, and her mom did cry. And I was like, "Well, now you're going to put that on the record,
Yep.
And so she played that song Family Tradition about breaking generational trauma with her mom and family in attendance. And it was just a moment that even, it drew the attention of Elise as well. I think right after she played that song, she was like, "How old are you?" And Emma was she said she was 16 or she might be 17. I don't know. She's so young.
Yeah, I think
I just imagine her as 10.
Yeah.
I just think if she's hers 10 forever.
I've been saying that
she's 16.
16 for the past 2 years. She's actually, I think, going to be 18. So this year she'll be 18 this year.
So
when the hell did that happen?
Right.
If I could tie that in as well as that, I know that, Stefan, you wrote a song about generational trauma, and at that point you played that song. And so for me, kind of, if I could combine these two moments, was that it kind of in such a way, it kind of reminded me that like no matter who you are and where you are in life, you must face these sort of things down and figure them out. And it's not easy work for anyone to do. And, I really enjoy being in the presence of people who have the courage to dismantle those sort of unnecessary things about themselves, because nothing's worse whenever you're kind of when you're like a casualty within a war that a person's having with themselves, but lots of those of us who have taken the time to sort of parse those things out and done that kind of labor, especially the poets and the songwriters that take that labor and then put that into a song, and touch other people with it, I just, to see that sort of through line through the festival, there seemed to be, and maybe it's every festival and they just don't announce the songs, but saying, generational cycles or something ahead of time as they announce a song. But for me, there was a real through line of maybe one reason why I'm very happy and feel, kind of most content in so many different ways when I'm around so many writers, it's because we're all really courageous in the sense that we're all dismantling these parts about us that don't make our lives easier or serve us or, hurt others that we care about, and
that you've done a lot of that work is why you're happy.
Yeah.
I mean, really, right? That's why I've got me happy.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Yeah. So it was
you've done it, and I'm glad you've done it, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Likewise.
I've done it, but
yes.
I don't want a fucking morning journal, man. We've been through this.
Get up earlier, Jules.
No, it's but maybe the work that we all do in some ways is like, I mean, maybe it's not an adequate substitute for like Carl Jungian shadow work or some shit, but like, but it is like emotional labor on the page and in the performance. And you know, like it's just, you know, sometimes like, you know, like Stefan, like when I hung out with you a year ago at the Songwriter Festival, you mentioned the words, the woods will take it back. And I took that and ran with it and wrote a song about it. And it's like, at least songwriting, and maybe we're cheating a little bit, because does anybody else have this incentive to like do this kind of labor? Because like for me, if I get a song out of it, I'll go do more of this stuff, you know, like I'll go figure.
Well,
yeah.
I would say that most people that do that kind of labor aren't songwriters.
Yeah.
There's more people doing hard work on themselves that aren't songwriters than are. I promise.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We're lucky that we have a window through which to see some of that stuff. So sometimes it's not as much of a shock and doesn't immediately seem as daunting a work as it really can be.
Part of the issue, I mean, this is a total side topic. Well, not really, but part of the issue I feel like now with folks, and just like so much of the disconnect and divide in this country, is a lot of folks aren't self-aware enough. They haven't sat and really kind of thought about the implications of what they do and who they are and how it affects other folks. And I feel like a lot of that's missing, that self-awareness that I can't get away from, like no matter what I do, you know, like maybe that's a songwriting thing. Maybe I don't know, but I feel like more people should be doing it probably, and thinking a little bit more about some of those deep time things. Jules, I talked about the deep time from that book I was reading. Yeah. He talks about the things that are kind of like mythological. They're kind of behind the day-to-day life that are, you know, they kind of exist outside of time, the kind of permanent things.
Definitely. Well, there's a couple of things I want to mention before we hop off here. Number one, I want to mention our Best of Fest winner, Natalie Price. We can't, you know, not bring her up. She was fantastic. So, and then also number two, I really want to thank our sponsors for making this festival amazing. And then of course, our board and committee, our board filled with nothing but passionate people doing the passionate work. You know what I mean? And this festival wouldn't have been the same without any of them. So,
yeah, man.
And Stefan, thank you so much for being a part of it. Before we hop off, tell us about Hotel Turkey.
Yes.
Oh, Hotel Turkey Song Festival, September 25th through the 28th. This will be our fourth year. Me and Carly Duminel started it 4 years ago on a whim. I was on my way back from Red River Songwriter Festival, and me and my wife stopped and stayed there. She said, I'd love to host a songwriting festival. And I said, well, let's do it. I'll start booking it next week. And like in 2 weeks, we'd picked a date and had most of the headliners nailed down. And I think it's a great testament to if you work on some of your stuff and get things out of your way that have been slowing you down, maybe slowing down your family for generations, stuff will come to you. You'll find you're able to do things you never thought possible before in your life. And that's kind of what this Hotel Turkey Song Festival has turned into. This year we've got, some fantastic artists. I can't say any of them because we're not officially announcing for a few weeks. But
I thought we were going to get an exclusive.
It's crazy how good the people we are. The people that are playing this year are going to be. And I hope that, I know it's at the same time as Swerfa. I know y'all are big on Swerfa. I enjoy Swerfa too, but I would love it if a few of y'all could come to Hotel Turkey Song Festival.
Yeah.
That weekend. One of the coolest things is for the VIPs and musicians, after the concerts are over, there's the boot session song circles. They go till like 4 or 5 in the morning across the street at this old boot shop. Where there's like 40 chairs in there. Yeah.
That is so Texas.
We all sit around and play songs. Yeah. I can't tell you what getting to play one of my songs and have Jason Roberts play fiddle on felt like. I don't know if I've got words for that, but it was fantastic. And stuff like that happens at Hotel Turkey Song Festival. People will just come to Turkey. show up there unexpectedly. You never know who you're going to see.
Turkey, Texas.
Yeah,
That's
Turkey,
amazing.
Texas, up in the
Yeah.
Panhandle. Home of
Yeah.
Bob Will.
Bob Wills, right? Okay. How close to Kitty Quay is that? Did I ask you
Kitty
that,
K.
Stefan?
Kitty K. It's Kitty K.
Is it Kitty K? Okay,
Kitty K. Yeah, Kitty K is like 20 minutes from Turkey
got it.
down the road. Yep.
What were the dates again?
September 25th through the 28th.
And is it
And
like hotelturkeyfestival.com?
It's hotelturkey.com.
Hotelturkey.com.
Yeah, I think it's hotelturkey.com. And it's Hotel Turkey Song Festival
Perfect.
is the event. And
Okay. We'll send all of our listeners and we'll just send all of our CC songwriter folk your way. And hopefully, I know that we, like Garrett and I and the board, we're planning on dividing and conquering for Swarfa and Hotel Turkey this year.
heck,
So.
yeah, that's wonderful. Man,
I've been to enough
Can't wait to
Swarfas.
know.
Like I'll come to. It'll be awesome to come to.
Yeah.
awesome, Garrett. I
man.
can't wait to hang out with y'all up there. We could probably do like an awesome hike at Caprock Canyon.
I love
Nice.
Cap Rock.
If any of y'all are bird hunters, we could probably make some of that happen too. It's the middle of dove season.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Stefan, thank you so much for joining us. And
Thanks,
I
buddy.
can't wait to see you again soon and see you at the festival next
brother.
year. And please come back and be a part of our committee and
I
make
will.
our festival better because you do it every year.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
I
thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, buddy.
You're my Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday night. Every Saturday, Sunday, and suddenly I'm running out of time. I'd take more if I could. Nothing else feels as good. You're my Monday and Tuesday and all of my every night.
Hey.
How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Awesome.
I don't have my face on, so
Did you say you don't have your face on?
yeah.
So that's not your face, I see.
Well, I mean, makeup. I'm not all dolled up today, so don't judge.
But I'm gonna refill my coffee and run to the restroom real fast. So that's okay.
Bring me some coffee.
You need some coffee?
Take break.
Y'all want some
No.
coffee?
There you
You
go.
got a sandwich, bro?
A sandwich? You want a sandwich?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Mayonnaise,
Just a little mayonnaise.
mayonnaise or no mayonnaise?
mayonnaise, just a little, not a whole,
Just a little.
just on one slice of the bread.
Just one
The other
slice.
side I want dry. The one
Okay,
side
cool.
I want mayonnaise on the one, but on the other side, no.
Weirdly specific. Just you and acoustic, Paul?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's how I play mostly. I have a band, but we haven't really. We did a few corporate gigs, but we haven't really gone out yet. I want to, but
Yeah.
we're all dads. We're all in our 30s, like late 30s.
Wait,
Yeah. What's the band name, Paul?
are you already interviewing him?
No, we're just talking about his. I knew him from
He's gonna have
somewhere,
to-
so I was trying to connect the dots.
He's gonna have to repeat himself now.
No, what? We're talking
There's
about
the guy who didn't bring me my sandwich.
Oh shit!
where
Forgot
is
about
my
the sandwich.
sandwich?
To be honest, I put mayonnaise on both slices, so I had to throw it away. So
Yeah, I don't even want garbage.
yeah.
You can
Uh,
keep it if you have mayonnaise anywhere on it for me. I don't. Mm-mm.
well,
No.
since y'all already started this without me, let's just move into it. This is Paul Montoya. How are you doing, Paul?
Doing well. Greetings.
Awesome. So, as y'all already discussed, you're originally from here, or you moved? Oh, you're from Lubbock,
I'm
correct?
from Lubbock. I lived in
Nice.
Austin for about 12 years, 10 years.
okay.
Like that. And
That's
then I spent the last 5 or 6 years here.
Awesome.
Nice.
And you're not just a performer and songwriter; you're also an actor.
That's true.
That's actually I
Ah.
met him as an actor first, and then
Nice.
randomly I went into Cassidy's and saw him playing, and I was like, wait a second, that's the actor dude. What is he doing singing into a microphone?
what are you
and-
doing?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And he got really mad and he smashed my guitar, and that was
Yeah.
that. So
Jimmy, what the
Naturally.
hell, man?
can't do two things.
No, I smash guitars and I put mayonnaise on both slices. That's, you know, that's my MO.
It's fucking gross.
So, for me, since I missed most of it, tell me who you are, Paul. Like in the most general and most specific sense.
I am Paul Montoya, an Aquarius, which means I am very feeling. I'm a very feeling person, but sometimes, you know, I need to be by myself and all that kind of stuff. And I'm a musician here in town, and I play solo acoustic shows at downtown at a lot of places. Lately, I've been playing a lot at Casa Vieja and Flower Bluff, and I've been playing at Lively Beach. And that place is beautiful. It's over kind of by the Packery. It's a resort. And then
Oh, nice.
yeah, I'm playing at the mall every once in a while. That's always
Oh,
fun.
yeah. That's Eric. Eric's been doing that too, right? Is that the
Yeah,
same? gig?
Eric plays at the
Yeah.
mall too.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's cool that Corpus Christi has that, because I feel like not a lot of places in Texas have a mall that lets people play at. You know,
It's it's kind of weird. It's when Eric told me about that, I was like, "What?" And then he like kept playing shows, and they were lucrative for him. I was like, "This is pretty cool, man."
Is that Eric Graham you're talking about?
Yeah,
Cool.
Eric Graham.
it's a cool place to play. You know, because like when I first saw it, like I thought it weird. Like, I don't know if you guys seen that episode of South Park where they form a boy band group and they play at the mall. I was like, oh, it's the mall. It's, you know, it's small time, blah blah blah. But like Palmyra, like they're really supportive, and it's actually really cool. You know.
So the reason I asked you to come on is you're actually going to be our featured songwriter during our In the Rounds, technically this Sunday.
Oh yeah, that's
don't
weird,
get,
right?
Don't get confused. It's next Sunday, but
Okay, I was about to say, yeah.
for our listeners, it'll be this Sunday.
For Jimmy's cousin Derrick.
For my cousin Derrick, it'll be this
I
Sunday.
feel like you just ruined the illusion.
Don't break the wall, man.
Every time I try to do it, everyone gets confused. So and then I confuse myself. So we're being transparent here. We record this ahead of time, obviously.
Oh, and everybody who shows up this weekend would have been who was there for next weekend for me.
There you go. Wait, what?
What?
So,
Paul?
I
was
want
gonna
to
ask a question.
Fine. Go ahead. Go ahead, Garrett.
Paul, songwriting influences, sir. Who are some of your?
Oh man,
give us some folks.
I love Incubus. I love John Mayer. Tom Petty was a huge influence. The first time I actually went to ACL was like in like 2007 or 2008 or something like that, and Tom Petty was the headliner.
Oh, I remember that ACL.
That was amazing. It was Van Morrison the first night, Wilkins the second night, and then Tom Petty. And it was just such an amazing show. And now, like, whenever, you know, if I see like the ACL lineup and stuff like that, I don't know who any of the bands are.
Same.
So I feel like that's how I know I'm getting old. You know, I'm like, you know.
I went to the ACL before.
I don't know who that is. You know.
I did that. I think I went to the ACL right the year before that one, Paul.
Yeah.
And it was like Wilco and Arcade Fire and My Morning Jacket, and Bob Dylan was the big headliner for one of the nights.
I think I saw Bob Dylan, man. Like I love Bob Dylan.
I did too.
Have you guys seen him lately? Like
I saw him last time I saw him. He was here in Corpus, and he was pretty. I mean, he was pretty gravelly. He sounded like old Bob Dylan. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he was at Whataburger Field. It was him, and then John Mellencamp randomly played before him.
I saw that tour too.
Yeah. And then Willie Nelson started.
Willie
the
Nelson.
Night. Yeah.
Maybe I caught him at the tail end, because I think I saw him in Lubbock, and like he was like, I don't know, it was hard for him to kind of carry a tune at certain parts, and it's just
that's Bob.
I get.
Yeah, which is funny because he's like gravelly, groany, like he's crawled out of a French crypt for the last like 20 years. He sounded like that, and then he releases. I don't know if you guys have heard Shadow Kingdom. It's like it's a live recorded album of some of his classic stuff, but with him and just like a small band, and he's like crooning like he's 20 years old. It's weird, and you can understand everything. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's like an affectation that he's putting. I don't know what the hell. It's Bob. It's Bob. He looks like Vincent Price now. He's just like an old weird buzzard of a man.
Maybe
That's
it's like,
yes. I've been saying that he's
got his
grown
little mustache.
into Vincent Price.
And I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
maybe he does it on purpose. Like have y'all seen that video of Kurt Cobain? He was like where he's pissed off because the audience booed the opening band, and so he just sits there the whole time. I forgot what he does, but he just goes like, nah, 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 and he just keeps saying that over and over again.
And that's Bob.
Yeah.
I thought you said, Garrett, I thought you said he sounded like he just came out of a French crepe. And I was like, and I was like going off on that track before I realized you said crip.
He crawled out of a French crepe.
He didn't crawl out of a thin pancake.
He might. I don't know, man. He
I
might.
was like, what's that? That sounds nice.
I think that's the title of the podcast.
French crepe. He crawled out of a French crepe.
Crawl out of a thin pancake.
Yeah. So if you guys hear me, I was just saying, man, like it would be interesting to compare like a contemporary sort of Bob Dylan show to what like a contemporary Willie Nelson show is like, because when you're singing about this like kind of affectation or something that Bob does, the only reference I kind of have for like one of these legendary writers that in the older years is like a Willie Nelson show where Willie doesn't really like sing so much anymore as he just sort of like affirms that the audience has sang the correct lyric in his like approach. So like he, so like instead of him singing like blue eyes crying in the rain or something like that, right? Willie's like blue eyes crying in the rain.
He's just kind of narrating.
Yeah.
And it's like sing like in a melodic way. It's like more like an affirming sort of. So I don't know if Dylan does something similar to that.
He's like, you guys know these songs. You know these songs.
Yeah.
Come on, you don't need to sing them anymore.
That's weird that you say that, because like I went on I was on TV and I saw a Charlie XCX show that was on.
Yeah.
And, I think she's okay. Like I'm not like a major fan or anything. I mean, she's talented, but like it was so interesting that she was like on the stage with another dude, and the music was playing behind them, like all the backing tracks, and it was just the song, and she didn't even sing. Like for a whole song, she just said like, she was just like, hello everybody, how you doing? All right, we're gonna jam today. And that's all she did. And it made me think like, what is music now? Like artists don't even pretend to sing anymore. Like it's
like a DJ. She's a DJ in her own song.
Yeah.
Weird. Strange to me.
Lightning.
Those ways are strange. Those ways are strange to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So getting back to you, Paul, and your songwriting, I kind of wanted to touch base on this because you're one that you're gigging all the time now, but you're playing mostly covers at the moment, correct? Because that's the gig life here in Corpus Christi for the most part. So, did you get into music playing covers, or did you get into it to write songs, or when did you write your first song, and how did that come about?
Well, like, I always wished I had a more exciting story, because I had super supportive parents that got me on piano when I was 5. But I always wished I had that story. It was like, that's like my dad was an alcoholic, and he said, no son of mine's going to play the guitar, get out of my house. But no, they were super, super nice. And I played piano ever since I was 5. And I remember I got into guitar a little bit later on because guitar is harder to start than piano, just because like, your fingers, like you have to like get them stronger to the strings and stuff like that. But I had wanted to play, kind of like rock songs. And my piano teacher was this really, really old lady named Mrs. Colin, super sweet lady and super nice.
They are all old ladies.
Yeah,
like as universally they are, like,
and they stay old forever. Like she was 109 back then. Now she's 110. It's been 20 years. But she like I listened to Other Side by the Chili Peppers, and I was like, oh, I want to learn this song. This song's awesome. And so I bought a little piano music paper with it and had all the lyrics on it. And I showed it to her, and I was like, this is the song I want to learn. And so she started reading the lyrics like you know how it says like slit my throat is all, and she's
Yeah.
like, I don't like this. I don't want to teach this. I don't like this, you know. And so after that, I started, you know, kind of wanting to play guitar. And you know, my first song that I ever wrote, it was originally called No Luck. Now it's called Amazing, and kind of went through a few changes like that. But it was just I was I was in college, and this is my first song that I ever considered like decent, you know, because like I'd written other songs like that were like, you know, your typical like horny teenager, like prettiest girl in school, you know, like
Is that not how I should be writing anymore?
I guess that's
Hey, the Beach Boys did that for their entire career, so
that is true. That is
70
true.
years.
Pop music exists for a reason.
that's right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that song came out because I was just like, you know, I was in college and I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt like a dork. I just wrote this song. It's you know, it's like just about someone who was kind of down on their luck, and you know, things just weren't going right for them, and it went through a few changes later on, you know, especially when I met my wife. Now it's called Amazing, you know, and it's kind of about how things, you can't really control things going on in your life, but when you find that, you know, kind of one person, it just makes that kind of those things slide to the back of your mind, and we want to do everything for that person, but they're just, you know, but they don't necessarily need all those things, and that was kind of my journey. I wish it was more exciting, but like that's, and now I just kind of write, you know, whatever interests me, or you know.
There you go. Now I want to know, did music come first or did acting come first? And do you find a correlation between the two?
Music came first. And I think, but I think I found more of a passion in acting. I'm probably not as good at it, you know, but it's definitely what I'm more passionate about. But the way, like, I had a teacher in Austin, like, who was an acting teacher, C.K. McFarland. She's amazing. Like, she's probably, you know, one of the favorite teachers of anything that I've ever had. And the way she described like music and acting, kind of the way they fit together, is how the pauses make the music. And I always like kind of carried that. And she always talked about like how you have that dun 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 dun, and you have that pause afterwards. And it always kind of taught me, like in film acting at least, how there's so much power in that stillness, you know. And I think about that in music too, because like, you know, you can sit there and play a song, and it's just like goes and goes and goes and goes, and sometimes all it needs is just a break in the middle of it, you know, or just a pause, or just like a rest in there, and that just makes the song, you know.
Who was it said play all the rests? Was that Monk? I think it was Thelonious Monk said.
I think that probably was. It sounds like a Thelonious Monk thing, and that sounds like the way his style was. Yeah, he played all the edges.
John,
Play the rest.
As a framed quote by one of his drummer friends that he worked with for several years. It was like, think about what you want to play, then cut that in half, and then cut that in half and play that.
It's always interesting, you know, like you see that too, you know, like when especially, you know, in Austin, like when we go to like open mics and stuff like that, and you'd see like musicians who were, you know, kind of just starting out, like just starting to learn their stuff, and they play their original songs, and they'd be like 11 minutes long, you know, and it's just like yeah, cut that a little bit, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah. This is the first song with 12 choruses.
You're not writing
12 verses.
Well,
no choruses.
Well, that's a ballad. That's a traditional ballad. I get that.
It's my whole life. It's like an emo song, just like.
So yeah, you came to music. I guess you fell in love with music through your love for rock. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I love all kinds of music, to be honest. Like it's not as obscure as much anymore. But for Lubbock, like I had some pretty obscure taste, you know, because in Lubbock everybody's like either country or like you know, Three Doors Down was huge, and I like Three Doors Down, but like I've heard that song like 4 billion times, so it's like, you know, so it's like I got a little bit tired of it. Just like every party would come on, people were like, "Hot damn, there go that Superman song," you know.
I remember Superman being huge. Yep, I remember that.
Is that how everyone in Lubbock speaks?
That's how everyone in Lubbock talks. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But when I go down there, I get my Lubbock accent back. No, they don't. But people in Lubbock are very smart and very normal. I don't want someone to see this and be like,
oh, that's all we do on this podcast is we alienate people. Jules alienated
especially
all bass players.
I hate them.
And then now we're going to alienate the entire city of Lubbock. It'll be great.
We went down there. I went down there with AJ Atty, and at this point, like, this young man is like, he's not even 21. So I was just trying to get him in there to like play this jam night. And and so he's a bigger dude, so he looks like he's much older, you know, but
yeah,
19, 20 or something. And
yeah, he's young.
so I took him into this place to get him a spot, and I'm like, "Hey, who's the house band? I'll play some dobro with you guys." This is my friend AJ, and this guy came up to me, dressed to the nines in like those like the pearl snap Western, like real ornate, lots of embroidery, you know. And he comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, my name's Billy Banger." Like, Billy Banger, how you doing, Billy? Like, you're the house band. He's like, "Yeah," and he pulls out this like Fender acoustic that has in script Billy Banger on the body of the guitar. And I sat in with this guy, and I was like, he's like, do you know these songs? I'm like, just give me a key, bro, whatever key, you know. And he's like, he looks at me, he says, "This song is in G George." And I said, "Okay, we'll play in G. That'll be great, you know." And then the next song came around, he was like, "This song is in D Dog." And I was like, "Okay, cool, bro." Like, you know, anyway, so the night went on, it was great, but I went out of there feeling like someone like Billy Banger, like what a legend of a dude, like to like own the house band, go by the name Billy Banger, have that script just like on your guitar and be playing these like classic country tunes. Like, it was just like, I was like, yeah, like if I was Billy Banger when I grew up, I would be totally satisfied with like this, that. Maybe there's still time, you know.
Maybe there's still time. That's like you play both kinds of music, country and Western.
So,
you have an alliteration name
of an actual running Ford Model T that he had and kept running. Yeah, so
that's pretty badass.
Yeah, pretty cool, man. Yeah, like anyway, so that's my experience in Lubbock, Texas, and as you mentioned that, and I was like, dude, I gotta tell you guys.
No, Lubbock's amazing, and it's just like it's so interesting. The musicians there are so like a lot of them like try to meet that kind of stereotype of like a, you know, like a country you know, like, "Hey, I'm Billy Banger. I'm you know, I don't know, man. It's just it's a cool kind of like atmosphere down there musically, you know.
Yeah, playing his music program right there in Leveland too. So
yeah.
Paul, are you do you have any stuff recorded out there that we can listen to?
Yeah, I have a couple originals on the on the website.
Nice.
And I've never really like a couple of them have been like in studios, but I've never really like gone and like done like a professional studio time that I, you know, hopefully someday, you know. But I do a few originals when I play out, but usually the crowd just goes, you know, like,
oh, damn it.
My original, it's very important to me, and I'd love for you to listen. Everybody's just like, "Bye."
Man, we're gonna smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like Ryan Biter at our festival this this year, where he was telling the most personal story about this song, and then he starts playing the song, and then the party bus goes on behind him, and then someone's honking, and it's yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. You know. Hey, but the last time I saw you, we had our little actors group meeting at Surf Club. We all came out to see you perform, and I asked for original song, and we cheered. So it's not all
Thank
the time.
You. Yeah. No, yeah. that was nice. It was nice to, and I just say that like a lot of times people are very supportive of it, especially Corpus Christi. That's what I was surprised moving down here from Austin. It's just how supportive the community is here. Like people are cool. And in Austin, you're lucky if you get to play somewhere and like you don't have to pay them. You know what I mean? Like,
yep. No, I know what you mean. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why when I'm traveling, I usually avoid Austin now because there's no money in it at this level, So it just I play around Austin.
Yeah, and that's smart. Like and then it's just so like I don't know. I don't want to insult it or anything, but I feel like a lot of the corporatization there sometimes like they made all these music ordinances like you can't play noise past certain times and all that, and it just feels like if you're gonna sell yourself as the music capital of the world, you have to be like so open to music that it's like it's just I don't know.
Yeah, seems kind of antithetical to the whole mission of the city, but that's kind of I love Austin, but that's been my beat the last couple times. Yeah, it's all the corporatization of everything.
We're those old fogies now. That's like you should have been here back in the 80s.
Back in my time.
No, man, Austin's kind of weird.
Keep it weird.
Yes. No, it's like that. I've seen that meme going, or the Spider-Man meme when everyone's pointing at each other. All the Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, classic meme.
But they put Austin generations in it, and they're like my Austin was better. My Austin was better. Of course. It's always all the generations back. So
yep.
It's like the Saturday Night Live of places.
It seems like so when I think about Austin as a live music capital of the world with noise ordinances and corporatization, right? Yeah. Like Woodstock, New York, where I lived for a long time. When I left there was all sorts of noise ordinance shit happening there that was making like the whole, like every musician in town was coming out to these town meetings, and they couldn't even express, like the people who were in support of the noise ordinance were not even allowed to really speak because all the musicians would just make a huge fuss about things. And so
hell yeah.
Right. So that hell yeah, right. So
yeah.
I see that happening there. And then I think about the reasons why people like that live in Nashville complain about Nashville, because Nashville doesn't. Nashville is like, here's the center of town. It's going to be a tourist thing, and it's going to spill out across. I mean, you can live there, but it's going to be like Vegas downtown, where like nobody ever sleeps, and it's always loud, and they don't give a shit, And so like, kind of in such a way that like, I mean, Nashville's still doing well, right? I guess maybe they are the better emerging out of this conversation, but why is this happening in so many places that were otherwise known for and attract people to them because of the music they have? Like,
people are taking too long to die?
Yes.
Garrett, that's a terrible thing to say.
Is it?
Garrett, I can't believe you said that.
I think maybe that's part of the problem with the nation as a whole. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Go swim in the Gulf of America.
The Gulf of America.
I feel like the whole conversation just shifted. Like, this is like a podcast now. It's like a secret meeting. Like,
should we move on? Paul, do you read? I mean, not do you know how to read, but do you
can you read, Paul?
Do you find yourself reading books?
Do you ever? We talk about books a lot, or it turns out we talk about books a lot on the show.
Hey, you know what? Lately, I've been reading actually. Like I just started again after a while.
Jules.
And I'm actually almost done with. Have you guys ever read Ready Player One?
Yes.
Yeah,
a long time ago.
Yeah. So I mean, I wish I would have read it a long time ago, because I read it. I'm like, man, this is like my nerd paradise from when I was like 15. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's like, and I still really like it. And I'm 38, but like I, you know,
hey, come on, man.
Like now I know. Well, I read it and I'm 40. Like. Well, I read it and it's like awesome, but I'm almost done with this. I'm like at the last battle, whatever. But it's you
fun.
know, it's such a cool book because like I love I love VR, you know, and I had the Quest, you know, at the during the pandemic and stuff like that, and I started playing VR ping pong, and there's a game called or table tennis, like there's a game called Laven Table Tennis, and you know it's so popular because like when you start playing it, you get addicted, and it feels so real that like you know people were spending 5, 6, 7 hours a day just playing it. And there was 1 million users at one point, and I played it so much that I got in the top 200 people in the entire world. And now, like, I wouldn't be able to. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it now, but like it was so addicting. But one of the cool things from that time is I met people online, and when they came out with the Horizon Worlds, you know, and it. Like that, the concept kind of died because they didn't really come up with anything new for it. But I met a guy on there who actually set up he built a little virtual world for me to play concerts in. And so I would play concerts, virtual concerts in there.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it like this, I couldn't get the sound good or anything like that. So because I couldn't figure out how to like hook like you know any system through the thing, but it was cool. Like I play songs, and different people from like all over the world would come and just kind of hang out. Like these guys from Germany came in when I was playing. They're like, "Ja, it's good music, ja," you know. And it was like,
dude, Germans are nuts when they come to hear music. Like a couple times in Port, I played in Port A a couple times, and I've had some folks from like New Zealand or Germans.
We lost Stefan.
Did we lose Stefan?
I think Stefan hates Germans.
Oh no!
it's just like, this is boring.
They like, but dude, Europeans love acoustic music, man. They go nuts.
Yeah.
Man, I was going to say, I wish that I knew you during this time when you were playing concerts to people over like video games things. Because tell me.
Well, I hope you know, it seemed like the coolest thing because like when you get to a point where they build like kind of a system that you can hook into that and you can get good sound in there, I think that'll be like the coolest thing for musicians, like that you can play without leaving the house. And then you can have people like your PayPal on there, and people can support your music or buy it online, just like in a virtual thing, man.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Team meetings should be held outside of Microsoft Teams, and more of them should be held inside of Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
That would be amazing.
I forgot the name of the game you were playing in my mind, as I don't know the game you were mentioning. It's kind of like Minesweeper in my head that I'm imagining, and so I'm imagining it's this block character with a block guitar, that guy sitting there with like an Xbox controller or something, you know, which is like, you know, there is a 3.5-inch mini jack. It's not even 3.5 inch. It's like 2. Or 1.5 mono or something like that is what it is into an Xbox 360 controller, which is a small adapter, right? And at one point I had devised, and forgive me for this, but at one point I had devised a small box that would have just some leads that would be, it's an easy thing to solder to where you could have not just your Xbox controller to your headset plugged into that box, but the box has a lead that goes out to your controller, and then you have an additional auxiliary input where you could put your iPad or something like that into it. To which my ultimate goal was to inject fart noises into.
I thought that was going to be so profound, like just like.
That was my goal. It was like, okay, I ordered a chassis, I soldered the stuff up, and then I plugged this stuff up, and I had this device for at the time it was a 360. It was an Xbox One at the time. But the whole point of this is that there is not like a box still that exists like that. That's like, hey, put this in front of your controller, plug this in. Here's USB-C audio. Here's a charging port.
Yeah.
Thing, right? And for as much time as people spend in the metaverse, or maybe that thing doesn't even exist, man, inside of like, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, these games, like I wish there was like a front end, like a device that was built that does that thing like we're talking about, that kind of just bridges the gap as an interface between your Xbox controller and your pedal board or something.
Yeah, yeah, and people
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think people really, really want that too. I think it'd be like, it would just be huge.
Since we're on tech, I kind of wanted to forgive me if you don't really want to talk about it, but your day job, you kind of work in AI, correct?
Yeah, I do data annotation, so I like write like prompts for AI. It just came because I'm a writer.
Oh.
I wrote for I ghost wrote through a marketing agency for a bunch of different websites and stuff like that. And so this one was like a kind of a steady thing where like I could like just test the AI's ability to do stuff.
Yeah. And that reminds me of we're at the Coastal Bend industry or music industry symposium the Thursday before our festival, and they had a whole panel on AI and songwriting, and I just thought that was illuminating, and I kind of want to get your take on that. Do you see AI playing a role in songwriting or in the music industry more moving forward?
I do. That was a crazy panel. Like there's almost a fight. Did y'all see that? Like
I had actually walked out and heard it was.
I missed that. What?
It was Paul Bissell and then the I'm forgetting his name. We're actually going to try to get him on the podcast. The Trooper, John Troop or something like that. He's the CSAC guy. And
why are they fighting? What happened?
I missed it. So tell us, illuminate us.
Well, so he was mad, like because they were talking about how they used AI in music and in production and all that kind of stuff. And he was mad, so he stood up and he Bissell, right? Well, yeah. So he talked about like this is taking jobs away from musicians, and he had a more eloquent point than I could probably make, but he was talking about like how it's not fair if AI has a voice and they use that. If you use an AI voice to be a backing track or something like that, because a musician could have done that. That's taking a job away from a musician. And also if you use AI to make like a production task like easier, then you're still getting paid for that job, but you're not doing that job, so it doesn't count. The way I feel about that is so the first thing, like as far as taking jobs away from musicians, that sucks. Like AI is doing that with actors, AI is doing that with like a lot of things. But it's not as good, because people think like it's actually thinking, but what it really is doing, it's just predictive technology. So it's basically takes what everything everybody says, right? And it says like, I think based on what I've heard before, you want to hear this, you want this response, so it's not really thinking. So it can't really produce anything that's entirely original. Like, and you'll realize that like, some of the tasks I've had to like ask the AI to write songs. And so if you ask it to write like a rap or something like that, it has weird tendencies because it's always the same answer that it wants to put out. So like whenever you make it write like a rap song, for some reason it always says concrete jungle. Like, and it's just a weird thing. It'll always say like, welcome to the concrete jungle,
What?
And it's just like, yeah, it's
what
weird.
The hell?
Yeah, it's weird. But it's not really like a living thinking kind of thing. But when you talk about it for like tasks, like I don't think that's a fair assessment because that's like saying like, well, when the car came out, that's not cool because you're not walking everywhere, and it's just like that's just the natural progression of things, So I think it's totally fair to use it for like, like production tasks or like marketing tasks and things like that. But
how does it work? How does it work for that stuff, Paul? Like if you're doing, like, do you have it just do? Are you basically having it do like busy work that you don't really that you don't want to do? I guess, or
kind of. But you can do anything. There's things people were doing to make money on AI because there's like Midjourney and ones that can make like images and stuff like that. So they would use ChatGPT to write like a small children's book. And then they would use Midjourney and put that children's book in there and then kind of write some other prompts to do like what kind of pictures they'd want to do. And they'd have their children's book and they just organize it just into like a literal children's book and then sell it on Amazon. and then they'd go on Chat GPT and say like, oh, well, can you write me a SEO blog for this? And so it would, you know, like make an SEO optimized blog, and then you'd use that for, you know, social media or whatever. And then you could market it on that, and then just do it really quick. You can even code apps on there, you know. So if you said like, I wanted an app to look up a certain kind of song, you could say like, can you code this in Python or some computer language or programming language, like, and it would just, you know, and it would write all the code to make that app just right away. It's crazy. Have you guys heard online, like some people will do like they'll take like songs, they'll be like, oh, can you do Cartman singing Linkin Park and stuff like that? And,
yeah, I've heard that.
That's, you know, just,
you know, I've heard some of the Gen Z is not really appreciating the artwork that AI generates, and kind of refers to it as boomer art these days. You know, I mean, there is. So the thing about AI, which, you know, the new conversation around is most of the time, like if I'm working, it's within like for the Real News Network producing audio for those guys, which is a working class perspective news outlet. And so where my mind goes in terms of AI, LLMs, and the technologies that are used to generate answers to these queries, the new conversation now is that data is labor. Is that like all the data that has been compiled in order to create these systems is all data that has come from each and all of us, you know, that have sacrificed privacy and security and all sorts of open-ended, you know, things that we don't know the extent of over the last like 20 years. Like the last 2 generations have really sacrificed like all privacy available to us in the day. You know, willingly handed this stuff over to Google, and now all of a sudden Adobe is getting in on this shit, where they're like, okay, well, we're going to take all the stuff that's through our subscription cloud-based services, and we're going to compile that into our own AI thing. But don't worry, if you subscribe to all of our apps, we'll give you like an endless way to remove the background in more seamless ways in your images, or, you know, we'll give you these AI LUTs or these you know, Adobe AI enhanced speech sort of shit, you know, like it's, but all that is comprised of data that has been taken and used without our permission. And, you know, the conversation around data as labor is that the working class whose data is being leveraged should be compensated for that, not necessarily stripped of jobs. And I get to go to Bissell's point, right? Like I totally get, like, when the synthesizer came out, people were like, oh man,
What the hell?
I'm a violin player. That's going to take my job. Because now you got artificial strings, man. When MIDI came out, keyboard players were like, now you're going to take my job from me and that stuff. I get that side of the conversation. But the other side of all of that is that, like, when we start endorsing AI as something that, you know, it's the data as labor thing. It's also the environmental impacts of these in terms of like AI plants. Like we're just all lucky there's not an AI plant that's popping up next door to take our water supply from our towns, you know? I mean, hell, some places like Beeville here don't even have the water to support some shit like that. They can't even keep a prison open right now because there's no.
I know. Yeah, I heard about that.
So that's going on. But like all of AI at this point is kind of like, I feel really guilty using it now because
Well, now I feel really guilty. So,
well, I all the time. I have to edit other podcasts about this stuff. But I would
I get you. I totally.
Good job, Jules. You
just made it all the way through this. Okay,
let me to throw blood on me.
And as an artist, should be using ChatGPT. Okay, do this. You got problems writing up something about an album you made? Take a Word document, put your song list out there, put the title of the album on it, put all the lyrics into there. Take that Word document, upload it into ChatGPT, tell it to write you a positive article like a Rolling Stone editorial or something with the style of your favorite author. So what I do sometimes is like, okay, here's this whole thing I wrote. Here's all the lyrics. Write a bio for this artist and make it 50% Hemingway, 50% E.P. Thompson, or, you know, just some writer that, like, anyway.
I would love to see a Hemingway article about about an album. That I'm excited to. I'm going to try that. That's
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I've been telling the artists that do their own PR stuff, I've been telling them to do this. And it's incredible the results you can get by just messing around with a little bit. I'll tell you something else too, man. I used to teach at A&M Corpus.
Oh.
ChatGPT wrote a couple lectures for me. Okay. Because like,
Oh wow.
yeah, because
Yes.
it's like, hey, write a table of contents for a book about the basics of audio recording. Give you 10 chapters, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, what do you know? I got a lecture for tomorrow if I just put these on bullet points, general talking things. Like, for as much as, there's what's the word I'm looking for here, man? Like copying amongst plagiarism among students from this stuff, right? And for as much as it's maybe creating a sort of unpreparedness and inadequacy to our own minds when we start using it. I don't know if you ever notice it, like your brain goes a little bit dull when like you're trying to generate words, but this thing is generating better words than you ever generated.
Yep.
Like Hemingway about something, right?
Yeah.
It's anyway. So there, I want listeners to go try that out. If you're an artist, do that. It's incredible what it can do, especially if like you start naming obscure authors, because this ChatGPT knows everything. Like if you said, hey, write me a bio in the style of like Cormac McCarthy and Blood Meridian or something. It will.
Dude, I got to try that.
yeah.
That reminds me, of one of the coolest experiences I had. Because one of the things we had to do, like the AI would take on a persona, right? And so we had to choose a persona, and I chose Mr. Rogers. And sometimes it gets the persona right, like it gets it, or sometimes it gets it way off, and you'll put it in and it just won't get it. But with Mr. Rogers, it got it perfectly. And so I had this whole conversations with like a chat conversation with like an AI Mr. Rogers. And I forgot I was working for a while. And like after a while, I actually got like into it. I was like, well, things with my mom are going kind of complicated and stuff like that. And he's like, well, everybody has problems with their family, and it was really, it felt like I was actually talking to him. It was really cool.
Have you checked out any of the new AI out of China, DeepSeek or DeepThink?
I haven't gotten to check those out. No. I bet they're amazing.
Like ChatGPT, you can have like a verbal conversation with it, which is cool. You can't get that out of like DeepSeek, I don't know, DeepThink, DeepSeek, whatever.
I think it's DeepSeek.
Right. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. So, but it's kind of, when you say it doesn't think, it's crazy to like type into DeepSeek, because then it gives you some kind of grayed out text, and it just generates a whole bunch of it before it actually gives you a response. But it's narrated as if it's going through and meticulously examining its own logic process and verifying information and gathering sources from the internet. So like, so what's really cool is like the difference between like say ChatGPT and DeepSeek, right? ChatGPT, I've been having conversations with it about this pedal board that I built. List all my pedals, talk to it, tell it about all these different things.
Nice.
It will forget from day to day. Like if I go back and reference that conversation, it'll just start saying things that are incorrect. But I got it to where it was like, it was almost like I almost got something useful out of it. I felt like I had to reiterate a lot of stuff in order to have it gather that many things. But I couldn't verbalize that over on DeepThink, but I did type the stuff out in a similar conversation, and that thing gave me useful advice and good stuff. So, for instance, I have a Voice Live 3 that takes a 12-volt pedal, a 12-volt power supply that has a stupid straight adapter, and when I was like, hey, give me a link to a right angle adapter for a power supply for a TC Helicon Voice Live 3, it gave me a link to Amazon. And I was like, I'm going to just spend the $10 and see if this thing works. Bam. Right size, everything.
Man.
Right. It told me as a suggestion, it was like, you need to put your Boss OC5 octave pedal right after your preamp, because it likes to track as soon as or closer to the guitar, the better. I had that out of that position, which was like, what? Really? Okay. And it made it different.
It was right. Man.
So like DeepSeek is really on the money with a lot of stuff, more so than I found on ChatGPT. Less correct.
Nice.
Like, yeah. Man, we're
I
talking
hear you, yeah.
time, but I'm
Yeah.
rambling on about it. Even though I'm
No,
So the
my queries,
so the takeaway is AI is taking over. You got it. Okay.
your toaster's gonna come kill you.
Yeah.
That's,
Skynet is
God, I hope it
operational.
will. I hope it will. It's taking too long. Come on, Toaster.
Well, that was a really great conversation. I really wanted to talk about it. We got into the weeds a little bit, but
I like weeds.
yeah. Should we ask the question?
Do it. Jules, are you
Okay.
going to do it?
Oh yes.
You want to do it, Jules?
All right, Paul. So at the start of this podcast, Jimmy began asking every one of our guests towards the end of our conversation a very simple question, and it took me a couple of episodes to sync up with it. But now it's a tradition, and I think it's a great idea. And it's since you have guested on this podcast for your first time here, you now get to answer this incredibly simple question that usually is greeted by quite a bit of silence for a few seconds. But the question is, what do you love about music?
42.
42, you dork. I love it. Oh, life, the universe, and everything.
No, I love that. I love that music can be anything. I love it can be anyone and anything. And it can be country music. It can be Johnny Cash, playing like three chords and then like down, down, down. And then it can be Bjork going crazy, like, hey, and it can be, and then you go in and it can be William Shatner just talking. It can be, or Willie Nelson, like you say just talks now. And it can be like 90s rap or like techno or anything. And I just love that. Like it's like anything you can do is music, and the most creative that anybody can be. Like when at the Jimmy at the symposium,
Yes.
you mentioned how when you had done like effects for sound, one of the things you found was that using a spoon, and you just dragged your spoon across. Was it dragged across the microphone?
No, I hooked up my acoustic guitar to an electric amp, turned up all the dials and put the distortion on, and then I took a spoon and dragged it across the lower string on my guitar, and it created this, like, slowly dragged it and created this weird, like, creepy vibe. So, and it worked perfect for that movie that I was making. But
Was that for porcelain?
no, this was years ago. This is 21 years. This was for my first movie, Haunting Kate.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's what I like. It can be anything, and just like it's such a playful art that you can just take anything. You can like be like, oh, I like that sound that I just broke a light bulb, and I like that sound. So let's put it in a song. It could be a big song. And I just love that it can be anything, because so many people try to take everything in the world, be it business, be it writing, even art in a lot of ways, and they try to just cram it into something that's just one thing. And I just love that music is so inviting, and it's so together with everybody and everything.
That's a beautiful answer. Did you ask AI to write it for you, or was that your original answer?
No, 42 would have been the AI answer.
Yeah.
The answer from AI would have been, "I'm so cold, Dave."
Yes. All right, Paul, thank you so much. You will be our featured guest this Sunday at the Corpus Christi Songwriters in the Rounds at Executive Surf Club. For any listener that's not my cousin Derrick, because he lives in Austin, sign up for that. Starts at 6:30. Music starts at 7. Paul's going to play some original music, and because it has to be original, otherwise we'll gong you off stage.
Like my original song, Teenage Dirtbag.
We haven't used a gong in
Weedus.
Yeah,
we don't have an actual gong, but we've always pretended that we had a gong.
No, we did have a gong.
It was the desk gong. It was
the first year.
It was a toy. We need a real gong. Does Chris Reedus have a gong? I bet he does.
Yeah, we should. I'll ask him. But Paul, thank you so much. Can't wait to see you on Sunday. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Paul.
Thank you guys. I had an awesome time. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right. See you soon.
Well, thank you guys. That is it for the Corpus Christi Songwriters podcast. That was Stefan Prigmore with our recap of the festival this year, and then we also talked to Tony Montoya. Oh, no. Paul Montoya. Excuse me. And then next week you're in for a real treat. We got two local folks. Well, Shayna's now in Austin, but we've got Ty Dietz and Shayna Sands. And so y'all make sure y'all tune in, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Paul Montoya, I'm so sorry.
He's gonna like it. I mean, he'll laugh.
I ain't afraid of where I'm going and what'll become of the songs I've sung. What'll become of the songs I've sung.